Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will cover the most important current affairs from 15 June to 19 June 2025. This content is especially designed for science enthusiasts, aspirants preparing for UPSC, BPSC, UPPCS, State PCS, SSC, NDA, and all other major government exams. So these weekly updates will help you stay exam ready, whether it is prelims, objective type question, or mains answer writings. About current affairs, science, and technology, I will upload weekly on every Sunday. Let's get started. The first news about Commission proposes ban on Russia gas imports by 2027. The European Commission has recently proposed a legally binding ban on the import of Russian gas and liquefied natural gas by 2027. So EU proposes ban on Russian gas and liquefied natural gas LNG by 2027, and it cuts its long-standing energy ties with Russia. EU's commitment to cut its long-standing energy ties relationship with Russia, a move prompted by the geopolitical tension which arises from Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. So this aims to ensure the EU European Commission has member states cannot block the ban, particularly Hungary and Slovakia, which have expressed opposition. So Hungary and Slovakia expressed opposition. Implementation timelines, it starts from January. It will start from January 1st, 2026. So all new Russian gas and LNG contracts signed in 2025 will be prohibited. Short-term contracts defined as those lasting less than 1 year and signed before June 17, 2025 will face a ban, and it will face a ban from June 17, 2026. So the final phase will see a prohibition on existing long-term contracts beginning January 1st, 2028 on Russian gas. So the Commission has crafted the ban using EU trade and energy law. Based on the EU trade and energy law, the Commission has crafted the ban and allowing it to pass with a reinforced majority. It aims to circumvent potential vetoes from Hungary and Slovakia. The legal measure will also permit companies to invoke force majeure clauses in their contracts. Hungary and Slovakia, which still imports Russian gas, have raised concern about rising energy cost associated with the transition. These countries have voted to block sanction requiring unanimous united consent. As the EU moves to replace Russian gas supplies, it is exploring alternative energy sources. So there is a demand to explore alternative energy sources. The EU has the capacity to import approximately 250 billion cubic meters of LNG annually, although it utilized less than half of this last year. So the bloc is likely to increase imports from the United States, responding to pressures from United States leadership. Countries like Spain, Belgium, Netherlands, France have expressed their support for this ban, indicating that they are ready to transition to non-Russian sources. Challenges ahead, the transition poses legal and financial challenges. The Commission has stated that companies must disclose contract details to custom authorities to enforce the ban effectively. Moreover, the price of alternative to Russian gas is also one concern, as Russian gas was previously sold at a discount rate. While the focus is on gas, the EU has also imposed some sanction on most Russian oil imports. Exception remain for Hungary and Slovakia, which still depend heavily on Russian oil. So the Commission has proposed that these countries create national plans to reduce their oil dependence by the end of 2027. Future proposal may also address the EU's reliance on Russian nuclear fuel. Second news is about India's Energy Transition Index ranking in 2025 out of 118 countries. So India has shifted to 71 in 2025. This ranking was released by the World Economic Forum. Despite a drop from 63rd last year, alongside China has shown improvement in energy access and transition readiness, and India has shown drop. Global rankings overview: Sweden leads the energy transition index, followed by Finland, then Denmark, then Norway, and then Switzerland. Other notable rankings include China at 12th position and the United States at 17th position. Pakistan ranks 101, while Congo holds the last position, and India holds 71 in 2025 out of 118 countries. The top five economics play important role in shaping global energy transition due to their substantial share of global GDP, population, and emissions. India has made considerable advancement in energy equity. Increased access to energy and clean fuels has been a priority. So priority is to increase access to energy and clean fuels. Fuels should be cleaner. The country has also improved energy regulation and invested in renewable technologies. These efforts have been essential in improving energy security and equity. So World Economic Forum marks several factors which influence India's ranking. Improvement in grid reliability and energy access in rural areas, village areas are important. So reducing dependence on imported energy is also important for enhancing energy security. Continued investment in infrastructure and renewable energy are necessary for further progress. Energy efficiency and investment capacity: India has excelled, has improved in energy efficiency and investment capacity. The country has lowered energy intensity and methane emission. India has lowered methane emission, greenhouse gas emissions. Favorable energy regulation have encouraged clean energy investment. These improvements reflect India's commitment to a sustainable energy futures. So it is reflecting India's towards a sustainable energy futures because of lowering energy intensity and methane emissions and encourage clean energy investments. So the report notes that 77 out of 118 countries improved their scores in 2025. However, only 28% advanced across all three energy dimensions. Security, what are the three dimensions? Are security, sustainability, and equality. Security, sustainability, and equality, only 28% advanced across all three energy dimensions. The United States leads in energy security, while India has progressed in efficiency and investment. So despite progress, there is some challenges also. Rising geopolitical tension, investment gaps threaten to stall investments. This is also a disconnect between clean energy innovation and its deployment in necessary areas. So the Fostering Effective Energy Transition 2025 report emphasizes the need for ongoing commitment. It identifies political will, financial investment, innovation, education as critical readiness factors. Addressing these areas will be essential for achieving a secure and sustainable energy future. Third news is about the guidelines for disposal of expired drugs in India. So the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, CDSCO, Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, released comprehensive guidelines for the disposal of expired and unused medicine, unused drugs. They aims to reduce the ecological risk which is associated with the environment. So they aims to reduce the ecological risk associated with improper drug disposal. The guidelines encourage state and union territory drug controllers to promote adherence among stakeholders. The guidelines stem from a 2018 study by the All India Institute of Medical Science. The study identified environmental hazards from expired drugs disposed of in landfills. The study identified there is environmental hazard is creating because of the expired drugs are accumulated in landfills. In 2019, the Center for Science and Environment brought into light very poor disposal practices in especially in Delhi, which is National Capital Region. These issues prompted calls for drug take back initiatives and better accountability for drug manufacturers. So what are the key disposal methods? There are many disposal methods. This includes encapsulation, inertization, and incineration. Encapsulation means isolation. These are the three methods of waste management. So isolation of waste management. In inertization, in this there is a it's the make the waste non-reactive to prevent dangerous reaction like oxidation, combustion, explosion. And incinerations, it is the waste should be treated under high thermal treatment, high temperatures. So additionally, a flush list identifies 17 there are 17 specific drugs that can be safely flushed to prevent environmental contamination. 17 specific drugs that can be safely disposed to prevent environmental contamination, to protect which is very important. So EPR is a central theme in the guidelines. This includes the safe disposal of unused medicine, unused drugs. It requires consumer participation and reverse logistic for returning products. It is also needed. There is also responsibilities of supply chain members. Retailers must return expired drug stock to suppliers. About the role of wholesaler and distributors, wholesaler and distributor are required to accept unused drugs for which is essential for proper disposal. About manufacturers role is to accept returns from retailers and wholesalers. So these are the supply chain responsibilities. About consumer participation, unlike EPR models in Europe and the United States, the guidelines do not fully integrate consumer participation. It emphasizes consumer involvement in returning expired medication. State drug control department are encouraged to establish drug take-back sites. Citizen can drop off unused medicine at designated location for safe disposal. It is the duty of citizen also. Kerala has initiated the program. The name of the program is Proud Program to facilitate drug collection from unused drugs collection from households so that it should be safely disposed. The successful execution of these guidelines hinges on collaboration among drug regulators, pollution control boards, and municipal corporations. So this collaboration are required. All Kerala Chemist and Druggist Association has expressed optimism, positive attitude, but acknowledges the need for effective implementation and strategies. So there must be a meticulous record keeping. Verification is needed to ensure accountability throughout the unused disposal process. Now, next news about helicopter safety issue in Uttarakhand Char Dham. Helicopter safety issues in Uttarakhand Char Dham. Recently, a tragic helicopter crash happened in Uttarakhand, resulted in the death of 5 passengers and the pilot. So this incident has drawn attention to the safety of helicopter operation during the Char Dham pilgrimage season. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, has been monitoring private operators closely, especially after a series of accidents. The DGCA oversees aviation regulation in India. It is a duty of DGCA to look after the aviation regulation in India. However, the Uttarakhand Civil Aviation Development Authority coordinates helicopter operation in the state. UCADA was established in 2013 to manage air traffic and safety. They set rules for operators, including landing fees and the number of flights. Despite this regulation, the absence of an air traffic control system in the Kedarnath area raises concern about safety. So helicopter operation in the Char Dham region face different types of challenges. The Kedarnath helipad is situated at very high altitude of 11,000 feet. Operators are pressured to maximize flights due to high landing fees and strict regulation. This pressure can lead to unsafe flying practices. So all operators are pressured to maximize flights due to high landing fees and strict regulators, and this can lead to unsafe flying practices, particularly in adverse weather conditions. And it operates primarily between May and June and September to October. There are many safety concerns and recommendations also. High landing charges and penalties for not meeting flight codes, incentives, risky behavior among operators, recommendation from the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau for improved navigational aids, and an ATC facility remain unaddressed. These are the issues regarding the safety. The lack of a qualified meteorological facility further complicates safe flying. There is a lack of a qualified meteorological facilities also. About pilot qualification and is also one of the important concern. To operate in Char Dham circuit, pilots must have extensive training and experience. Plenty of training and experience is required to operate in Char Dham circuit for pilot. So they need knowledge of the terrain, seasonal weather condition, emergency procedures. So they allow, the current regulation allow only a limited number of helicopters in the Kedarnath Valley at any one time. This restriction aims to reduce congestion, but may not be sufficient to ensure safety. The region has witnessed several fatal helicopter accidents which causes death in recent years. Notable incidents including a crash near Gangotri in May 2025 and another crash in Rudraprayag in October 2022. So these accidents highlight the ongoing safety challenges faced by helicopter operators in Uttarakhand. Next news about Operator Sindhu. Operation Sindhu. It is to evacuate Indian nationals from Iran amid escalating tension in the region. There is a conflict arises between Israel and Iran, which had intensified. There is a need of an urgent measure to ensure the safety of Indian citizens. So Indian embassy successfully evacuated 110 students from northern Iran, making the first phase of this operation. Operation Sindhu. This operation was launched in response to fears of military strikes by Israel on Iran. So the government of India prioritized the safety of its citizens, particularly students studying in Iran. Reports indicated that many Indian nationals were in vulnerable position due to the ongoing conflicts. So the first group of evacuees consisted of 110 students, primarily from Jammu and Kashmir. They were safely transported from Iran to Armenia before boarding a special flight to New Delhi. The students arrived back in India in the early hours of June 2025. So Iranian officials expressed their commitment to safeguarding foreign nationals during this crisis. So Deputy Ambassador of Iran to India confirmed that cooperation between Iranian and Indian authorities was important for safe evacuation of Indian nationals. There are many challenges faced by evacuees due to year strikes in Tehran. Students are suffering. The situation was dire, very bad, serious for many with limited access to essential services. Issue regarding about communication with the Indian embassy and the availability of basic necessities. The conflict raised diplomatic challenges for India. Over 4,000 Indian nationals, including students, resided in Iran. So the government of India faced the task of coordinating safe evacuation while navigating complex regional relations. India's diplomatic ties with neighboring countries like Armenia, Turkmenistan, and Iraq facilitated the evacuation process. However, relation with other boarding nations such as Turkey, Azerbaijan were less amicable, were less cordial, complicating India's strategic option. So continuous monitoring of regional situation was important for ensuring the safety of Indian nationals in Iran and planning further evacuation effort if necessary. So the government of India advised its citizens to maintain contact with the Indian embassy in Tehran and utilize emergency helplines. Fifth news about Common Board recommendation for Indian education system. It is a very important news regarding the Indian education system. The Ministry of Education recommended that 7 states of India adopt a common board for classes 10th and 12th. 7 states of India adopt a common board for classes 10th and 12th. So this suggestion follows an analysis by the School Education Department. It revealed that these states accounted for 66% of student failures in the previous academic years. These 7 states accounted for 66% of student failures in the previous academic years. So the 7 states identified are Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Kerala, Manipur, Odisha, Telangana, and West Bengal. These are the 7 states which are accounted for 66% of student failures. And it happened in the previous academic years. Current state of school boards in India. India has 66 school examination boards. India has 66 school examination boards. This includes 3 national level boards and 63 state level boards. 3 national level boards and 63 state level boards. Among these, the top 33 boards cater to 97% of students. Top 33 boards cater to 97% of students. The data is really surprising. The remaining 33 boards serve only 3%. There is a differences in board performance. So there is a differences in board performance. The recommendation for a common board aims to improve academic learning outcomes. In 2024, around about student performance and failures. In 2024, around 22.17 lakh students failed in class 10th. Additionally, 20.16 lakh students failed in class 12th. Although these numbers have improved over the decade, they remain a barrier to higher education transition. So this analysis marks the need for a standardized assessment process across boards. So the National Institute of Open Schooling, about the role of National Institute of Open Schooling, it plays important role in engaging, in stabilizing unsuccessful students. National Institute of Open Schooling plays important role in engaging unsuccessful, in making students unsuccessful Its influence is currently strong. National Institute of Open Schooling is currently strong in Delhi, Rajasthan, and Haryana. These states. NIOS is strong in Delhi, Rajasthan, and Haryana. The ministry suggests expanding NIOS prominence to states with higher failure rates among students. This step is important for reducing dropout rates, students' dropout rates. About gender performance disparities, there is also gender performance disparities. The analysis indicate that girls are outperforming boys in most boards. Girls are outperforming boys in most boards, particularly in science subjects. Over 28 lakh girls passed in science, surpassing the 27.2 lakh who passed in arts. This marks shift from previous trends. There is also regional disparities in academic performance. Because of different medium of instruction, student using Uriya and Malayalam mediums perform better than those in Canada, Kannada, Telugu or Assamese. So Uriya and Malayalam mediums perform better than those in Kannada, Telugu or Assamese. This marks the need to address the regional disparities, regional differences in education students' outcomes. Success of integrated board system, states like Kerala, Odisha, Manipur, which have integrated board system, achieve pass rate above 97%. Kerala stand out with a pass rate of 99.96%. Kerala stand out with a passing rate of a student is 99.96%. This source indicates the effectiveness of standardized education systems. About performance of Navodaya Vidyalaya and Kendriya Vidyalaya, they excelled in engineering entrance test. Navodaya Vidyalaya have shown a strong performance with 72% of a student clearing NEET UG. So these institutions provide quality education because of this performance, especially to rural students. Next is about International Day Against Unilateral Coercive Measures. So this resolution was passed with 116 votes in favor, 51 against and 6 abstentions. It aims to raise global awareness about the adverse effects of unilateral economic, financial and trade sanction that contravene international law and UN Charter. Contravene means to break a law or rule, that break a law, international law, and United Nations charters. So recently, the United Nations General Assembly adopted resolution designated December 4 as the December 4, which is celebrated as the International Day Against Unilateral Coercive Measure, which aims to raise global awareness about the adverse effects of unilateral economic, financial, and trade sanctions that break a law of international law and United Nations charters. So this initiative put stress on the need for international cooperation and solidarity, particularly for developing nations impacted by these measures. So this background of the resolution, the increasing prevalence of unilateral sanction, which is imposed by various nations, particularly those from the global north. It marks the detrimental effects. Detrimental means harmful, injurious effects of these sanctions on economic and social development, especially in developing countries. So this resolution seeks to promote a collective approach to international relations, urging states to refrain from unilateral action that violate established legal norms. The resolution received board support 116 countries, reflecting majority. However, it faced opposition. It faced opposition also, opposition from 51 countries, including prominent Western nations such as the United States and the member of European Union. 6 countries, including Bahamas and Turkey, abstained from voting, escaped from voting. So key statement in position, countries like Eritrea and Zimbabwe voice strong opposition to unilateral sanction. Eritrea described this measure as a tools of political and economic compulsion, emphasizing their harmful impact on civilians, on people. Zimbabwe fight brought in light its prolonged experience with sanctions, which have stunted its economic growth, underdeveloped economic growth. In contrast, the European Union and United States defend sanctions as necessary tools to uphold this international law and combat issues such as terrorism and human rights abuses, which is arguing that their measures are targeted and aim to minimize humanitarian harm, human harms. So objective of this day, primary objective is to raise awareness of harmful effects of this sanction, to reaffirm international legal norms and promote the sovereignty of nation, encourage global solidarity, particularly among developing countries that bear the brunt of unilateral measures. So establishment of this day is also consistent with Article 41 of United Nations Charter, which limits the application of economic measure to those sanctioned by Security Council. It marks the geopolitical rifts between developing nations, which largely support the resolution, and developed nations, which oppose it. The resolution is expected to encourage discussion on the legality and ethical implication of unilateral sanction in the global arena. Next news about the Bonn Climate Change Conference. The Bonn Climate Change Conference is very important annual event under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Under United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the 2025 conference commenced on June 16 and will conclude on June 26. It will conclude on June 26. Over 5,000 representatives from governments, indigenous groups, international organizations, scientists, and civil society are participating. So this year agenda includes discussion on financing climate action and the global goal on adoption. The Bonn Climate Change Conference, it is an annual mid-year meeting. It is formally known as the session of the UNFCCC subsidiary bodies. The conference plays very important role in shaping the agenda for the annual conference of the parties, COP. The COP occurs every November and focuses on border climate agreements. So objectives of the conference is to set the groundwork for the COP, outcomes for Bonn influence decision made at the COP. It often appears in the final agreements made during the COP session, and it is the main primary aim is to discuss technical and scientific aspects of climate negotiation. To discuss about the technical and scientific aspect of climate negotiation. The conference is led by SBs of the UNFCCC. The two main SBs are the subsidiary body for implementation and subsidiary body for scientific and technological advice. SBI focuses on assessing the reviewing the implementation of decision. It also supports financial and technical discussion for developing countries. This year agenda is a crucial topic, which is a global goal on adoption, GGA. This year agenda is global goal on adoption to establish a common global objective for adaptation. Similar to the mitigation goal of limiting temperature rise to below 1.5 degrees Celsius. Global objective for adaptation, which is similar to the mitigation of reduction goal of limiting temperature rise to below 1.5 degrees Celsius. Although the GGA global goal on adaptation was introduced in the Paris agreements in 2015 also, substantial progress occurred only at COP28 in Dubai, where a framework for defining global adaptation goals was adopted. So I think this video is, if it is beneficial, kindly like, share and subscribe to other aspirants. Kindly watch next episode.